Hello, today I'd like to talk about Lineage. In these days, branding is everything. As better you brand your trademark, as higher you get valued by the outside world. But have in mind, value is not return on invest. One of the major building blocks in Chinese martial arts nowadays is lineage. Lineage just points out where your martial arts is coming from. But from my perspective, even more important, it shows that you had to learn it from somewhere. And if you are teaching inside a lineage, that means your teacher had such confidence in your skills and abilities so that he certified you with a document or even a Baishi ceremony. Your teacher had to go through a similar procedure, but it's not a one-way street. The reason why you started to learn from your teacher will mostly be that you also had confidence in his skills and abilities to teach you. So, to a basic understanding of the whole thing, lineage is similar to blockchain. Lineage creates a value, and that value is authenticity. And that assures you that there's a high possibility of return on invest. And what is your investment? Of course, money and whatsoever, but it's your time. That means there's a high possibility that you are not wasting your time. So which lineage has the highest rating? From my perspective, there is no difference. There is no good or bad lineage. They are just good or bad teachers or good or bad students. So let's say you have no motivation to learn, so you will learn nothing. But if your teacher has no motivation to teach you, or let's say he has no abilities to teach you, so then you maybe will also learn nothing. But the good thing is, if you have the motivation, you still can find another teacher. Is it possible to become good without a lineage? Of course it is. So nothing is really impossible. But it's hard to find something without a lineage, because somehow everything comes from everywhere. Of course, as more pure your lineage is, and as more you can argue, oh no, this is no lineage, that is lineage, and whatsoever. But in the end, let's say for an example, you are good in moving around, you are good in copying movements. You just go on YouTube, search for traditional martial arts, you maybe find some Japanese or Chinese martial arts, and they do some kata. So give yourself a hard 1 month and work through that, and I will say in the end of the month you maybe will be very close to the video you try to replica. But the problem here is, in the end, even if you interpret applications into your empty movements, even then you actually achieved nothing. Why? Because you started from the other way around. You started with the demonstration. So I will not say that there are no schools outside where you just learn the demonstrations. But the point here is to say it with math, you just simply have a random number but no equation. So if there is no equation, you have no point to verify what you learned. And if it's not verifiable, there is no value in it. And of course, as I said before, there are frauds outside, but I will not go around and put my finger on other people and say, hey, you are a fraud or whatsoever, because I think stupidity goes to both directions. So let's say you have a teacher who's telling you, oh, this martial arts have a history of 2,000 years, and if you practice hard enough, you will be whatever, you can fly. Yeah? So, and to a certain degree, it's your own responsibility to look after yourself. That means if your teacher or the teacher is telling you such a nonsense, and try to market himself in a position where he thinks you believe his fairy tales, so then it's also your fault in the end. So therefore, of course, there are frauds everywhere, but there are also stupid people everywhere. I can remember in the past, let's say in the 2005 to 2010, there were a band on the market, a wristband, and that band called Power Band. So what was it? It was just a synthetic elastic band with metallic sticker on it. Maybe you know those metallic stickers when you hold it in the light, so it shines like in rainbow colors. So, but it's like so the idea behind that band was, okay, because we put an algorithm on it. It was not even a chip, yeah. So we put an algorithm on it. Therefore, your body balance, your body rebalance itself, and therefore you feel much better. And it's a high. It protects you from sickness and what so on. So, but this band was for 40 euros, and you could run a marathon, and on that marathon, every second guy on that marathon had that band. Yeah. So therefore, I like to put out, it's not just the teachers, it's the stupidity of people. People are extremely stupid. So, is Lineage important? Of course, Lineage is important, but and this contradicts with my opinion 2 years ago, because 2 years ago I was blended by the overall opinion what Lineage is by the majority of Chinese martial arts practitioners, because I do not believe that Lineage is the same like a system, that you pass a system. It's much more like you pass skill or a skill set to the next generation, and not even to the next generation. You pass a skill set to your student. That means you cannot guarantee that your skills will, that every one of your students receive these skills or achieve these skills. So, but you can be sure everyone you certify to have those skills because you checked them. So okay, and of course we can argue on this point, isn't a skill set the same as a system? So from my personal experience, from my personal learnings of different systems and working with different teachers, I would say a skill set is something totally different than a system to learn. Of course, the system you are learning has some tools to help you to achieve that skill set, but in the end, it's still your teacher who puts this kind of exercise, that tool on you. The teacher is bringing you from 0 to 1. So that's a huge step, because from 0 to 1, measure it. It's like impossible to measure it. From 1, you can go by yourself. So you can start to find things. You can start to play with some stuff. But in the end, you have to reach 1. And one is not just basics. Not just from the public opinion what basics are. Yeah. No. Chinese martial arts is all basics, but in the end, you have to achieve one. And if to recite my teacher here, if you can do one thing correct, you can do them all correct. But if you can't do one thing correct, you can't do one thing correct. And in this manner, I wish you a nice week and see you next week for another video.